The village of Whiteclay, Nebraska, lies on the border of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, and within walking distance of Pine Ridge, the largest town on the reservation. With 40,000 residents, the Pine Ridge Reservation is home to the Lakota Oyate Oglala Band, also known as the Oglala Sioux Tribe. The Pine Ridge covers two of the poorest counties in the United States, with unemployment over 75%. 2/3 live below the federal poverty level. Life expectancy is 48 years for men and 52 years for women, when the United States average is 78 years. Struggling with one of the highest rates of alcohol-related deaths in the country, the Oglala Lakota have banned the sale and possession of alcohol on the reservation. Whiteclay has no mayor, no local government, and no local law enforcement. Whiteclay has 14 residents, 2 grocery stores, 2 restaurants, and since the early 1970s, 4 off-sale beer stores licensed by the state of Nebraska. Each day, over 11,000 cans of beer are sold in Whiteclay.
Now, this is the Jumping Eagle, and that has been here a long time and used to be on sale rather than off sale. You could go in, sit down, have a drink. That was kind of the way it was done. And then there was Mildred's H&M, and she would sell beer. And then here's, this is known as Mike's, and its license is called Pioneer. There's 3 of them right there real close. Now, Mildred got older, and she closed down, and then this one opened up very recently. And then here's the last one. This is the Arrowhead. That one would be the first, have the first access to the patrons coming off the Pine Ridge. So my gosh, there's 4 dealers in that town of 14. What do we need 4 for? I've been coming up here for quite a few years, actually since '99. Was able to be a part of the many of the marches that occurred that summer. As I have come up through Rushville, and I don't see anybody drinking on the roadsides, along the buildings. I don't see anybody passed out. I come up here and I see it. People just passed out, totally helpless. Then I'll leave the town and go on in to Pine Ridge. It turns in just like Rushville again. There's nobody laying on the street, passed out drunk. There's nobody standing on the sidewalk drinking, leaning up against a building. And I say, what is the difference here? What is so unique about this town? I've seen a person down in the snow. I've seen a person down in the wet, and a chill coming on. And I think, what is going to happen to these people? Nobody is intervening. People have died here. The two individuals, Ron and Wally, that were killed supposedly in this town. I'm aware of one that was found right over there in that lot that died of exposure. One thing we have observed is the people standing or sitting around outside a off-sale dealership drinking, and it's called drinking on the premises. That's a violation of the liquor dealer's license. And so we began to take pictures of people just sitting or standing outside the door with a can being downed, and showed this to the Liquor Commission and to the enforcement folks. Then all of a sudden they began to get the message, hey, you can't allow that to happen in your parking lot. Now, they didn't issue tickets. They issued a heads up, and we saw that behavior go down. The kinds of things that the dealers have done, they sell to intoxicated people, they sell to minors, they sell in exchange for stolen merchandise, for credit. It's widely reported that they have sold liquor for sex. And I think they have sold liquor in exchange for leaning on somebody who hasn't paid their tab. And you hear horrendous stories of things that the dealers have engaged in. One of the first stories I heard, that in this bar down here, a lady was invited in and they tied her in a barber chair and she was gang raped. That would be hard to prove. But I was in that bar, and that door was ajar, and you could see into the other room, and lo and behold, there's the barber chair. Enforcement is the problem. There just is inadequate enforcement. And you know, with enforcement, there's another flip to that. It's kind of like protection. We are protected by our enforcement staff. They are supposed to be our allies.
Better get on your side. Any reservations, get the fuck off our reservation.
He's a bit threatened. The alcohol is talking, and he's threatened. What if you guys are successful in shutting this down? I don't have a car. People are not going to offer me a ride to a place where I can buy because I don't manage the drinking very well. My best shot is to have it this close where I can walk on in. And it scares the heck out of me to feel like this somehow could be all less available to me. It's a scary thing.
Now, this is what drinking on the premises looks like. This is what it looks like. And we had a heck of a time getting clarification that that was, in fact, premises drinking. And they're on the parking lot there at the doorway of this. Isn't that the premises? There was a lot of confusion about that. I threw the question to the senators, okay, in the last 4 years, there would have been 1,500 opportunities to issue a citation to a dealer, not to a native, but to a dealer for this kind of behavior. How many do you think were issued? The sheriff got one, his one and only, first ever. The highway patrol got one, their first ever.
What we need is those in the public trust to say what most citizens in Nebraska know, that if laws are being broken, we ought to enforce those laws. That's what I think we're dealing with. Everybody's involved there. We're talking about pure and simple economics. We're talking about millions of dollars and millionaires being made. There's a strong liquor cartel in the state that controls the Liquor Control Commission, controls the governor. And they think we don't know that or we don't understand that. Nobody's amenable to change in Sheridan County with regard to alcohol because they have made millions of on us, and they are able to export the misery onto Pine Ridge. $8 to $9 million a year in health care related to accidents illnesses brought about because of alcohol.
My name is Tom Cook. I'm a member of the Governor's Commission on Indian Affairs, representing the region including Whiteclay, Nebraska. And I have a question for Colonel Nesbitt. Sir, where exactly can the 11,000 cans of beer purchased daily be legally consumed in the whole equation?
As Byron can attest to this, there has been some dialogue in what is premises and what is legally within the licensee area. And we have, as I said, we handle those cases where we thought that alcohol was being consumed within the violation of where the liquor law was, and sent those to the Liquor Commission. Now, as far as being able to drink that if they would get away, and again, this is so, it's been discussed at great length, and Byron can attest to this in the Liquor Commission, how far away from the premises that they can drink it.
But Tom, I think you're asking a question beyond premises. Where can you legally drink even one of those cans? And that's the question that I'm waiting. I've been searching for that answer for such a long time. I'm anxious to hear somebody come up with it.
Not on the sidewalk, not on the street.
And not in your car, not on a county road. You sure can't take it on the reservation. You can't even have it there, let alone drink it. So what do you do with this can of beer?
You stated that, in your opinion, the efforts of law enforcement being expended in Whiteclay are extraordinary relative to the population of that area. And what I want to ask you is if you also feel that they're extraordinary relative to the gravity of the situation there.
Well, as I said, I don't believe we have adequate coverage. I sincerely mean that, but not only there, but also clear across the state of Nebraska. As I said earlier, there's over 272 communities that have over 638 licenses that we're responsible for. And then they also feel that they're
of the situation that's going on in Whiteclay. But are those communities also experiencing the gravity of the situation that is being experienced in Whiteclay? That's my question.
The answer to that is not as much as Whiteclay. Okay. That is true and factual.
It is the nature of law enforcement that when you shut down the crack house because of illegalities, they're going to open up across the road. And when you shut them down across the road, they're going to move across town. And it is the nature of law enforcement that you will then go there to shut them down. And then they might even move to the next county. And it's the nature of law enforcement that you go shut them down and you deal with illegalities fairly wherever you can. But we don't do that at Whiteclay. We talk about, well, if we shut them down, the problem's just going to move over down the road. I want you to think about that. Think about the double standard. Think about what it means when we say that, because it means we feel there's two classes of citizens here in this state. There's citizens in Southeast Lincoln, and I do not say that to be disrespectful. There's citizens in West Omaha. I don't say that to be disrespectful. Would we allow the things at Whiteclay in Western Omaha or Southeast Lincoln? I don't think so. Scores of our people, our young people, victimized, orphaned, many of our people murdered. God forbid that one young white woman, white man, die at Whiteclay tonight. We'd shut the damn thing down in the morning. And the pathetic thing about that is we all know that that's the truth. People, real people die, and they're our people. And we have no recourse but to tell you, to ask for your help and implore you to shut down Whiteclay legally once and for all. So thank you very much. Like everything we do is going to be a very peaceful and prayerful march to the governors. Please be mindful of what we are doing. Please be mindful that you carry the burden for all of those who have no voice at Whiteclay.
Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Make the governor obey the law! Governor obey the law.
Make the Liquor Commission obey the law.
Make the Liquor Commission obey the law. Make the Liquor Commission obey the law.
Fire the commissioner!
Fire the commissioner.
Fire the commissioner!
Fire the commissioner.
What we have at Whiteclay is an extension, a continuation of an old Nebraska tradition of ethnic cleansing. The very place in discussion today was an Indian buffer zone created by an act of Congress to keep alcohol away from Pine Ridge Agency. Then the same thing happened as continued since. The county commissioners from Dawes County, Sheridan County, they got together and they wrote to the president, "Oh, Mr. President, these people don't need no protection. We know what's best. And besides, we have them across the line where they're not our problem." And so the president signed a piece of paper to contravene the will of Congress and establish a new jurisdiction in the area. That, my friends, is the basic cause of the problems that we are discussing today.
I'm understanding that there is a gathering tonight at the Capitol, am I right?
Yes,
What gathering is that?
this is the annual Nebraska Land Dinner.
Nebraska Land Dinner, what do they do there?
Oh, they have a dinner on the floor of the Capitol Rotunda.
A dinner on the floor of the Capitol Rotunda.
I'm guessing there might even be alcohol there.
There's probably alcohol in our state capitol.
The governor is probably dressing in black tie even as we speak.
In 1904, President Teddy Roosevelt, in probably an act that was patently illegal, returned the 50 square mile buffer zone to the state of Nebraska, turned it over to white settlers, allowed whiskey traders to get back into the business of exploiting the Pine Ridge. That happened in 1904, 99 years ago. For 98 years, the Nebraska legislature didn't pay attention to this issue at all. It never came up once. Last year, thanks to Senator Don Preister, we got a bill in, one bill, which would preclude the state of Nebraska from licensing any new liquor dealers in Whiteclay, so that if ever we could get the current 4 ones to have their licenses canceled, we would not have to have any more that could be licensed to operate there. This is the bill that Senator Preister introduced last year. It didn't go anywhere. We're reintroducing it again. The buffer zone bill will be back. We want to close the door on any new liquor dealerships operating in Whiteclay at any point in time, anywhere in the future. But that's half the problem. What about the 4 who are there? Well, the answer is law enforcement. If you are selling over 11,000 cans of beer a day to a clientele that has no legal place to drink it, I guarantee you some illegal activity is going on there. Now, I am not interested in citing the Indian patrons. I'm interested in citing the dealers who sell to people who are already intoxicated, who are selling to minors, who are involved in lewdness and are asking for sexual favors. And I am interested in citing the dealers who will sell alcohol to somebody and allow them to consume it on the premises, because that is a violation, and that happens on the hour every day of the year in Whiteclay.
I mean, you white people come here once in a while. You come here every summer. Oh, we're gonna help you. We're gonna fix your house up. Fuck. What the fuck is that gonna do? Fuck, I don't even give a shit about that. I'll burn it up, man. I don't give a fuck. You know, I went to the army, man. I went to the army. I got out and I looked at that flag. I said, these people killed our people. So I don't even consider myself a goddamn Marine no more. I hate it. I hate it. I told my mom, I don't want that flag on my casket. Shove it away. Burn it up. I'm a different culture. I got a different race. I went in there and did my 4 years. I thought that was going to help me. I said, hell no. Never will I ever have that U.S. flag on my fucking casket. We had this fucking country first. We had this first. We was the first people here. don't need that stuff out there. I put up with everything. I'm not gonna do that anymore.
Hey, where's my car? You had it. Where did you park it? It was at Brunel's. You were selling it for $50. Where did you park it? That one lady said you got it and that you got no Guppy. Did you sell it to him or what? Just tell me, Donovan, that's my fucking car! That's my car! I want my car back! Got my daughter's stuff in it! They said you was driving it! Just tell me! Where did you park it?
I didn't start nothing. I didn't got nothing.
Tell me the truth, Donovan, did you sell it?
I'm telling the truth. I didn't start nothing. I'm telling the truth. I don't know nothing about it.
Let's go!
I've been a truck driver for 18 years. Since I graduated Job Corps, I went all over the United States. I've been to Compton, I've been to South Central, I've been to Chicago, I've been to New York City. You know, we're not stupid people. We're not. I'm not a stupid man. People have been getting millions of dollars off of us. And they don't give a shit, man. All they give us is misery. You know, we're just making these guys rich, man. Everybody in Whiteclay, we're making them rich.
Where's Brian at? Where is he? Sandy was like hanging around me, he's actually lifted up.
No, came from Ben's house. Waiting for you to pull in. You want this up now?
Pine Ridge Reservation is a dry reservation. And the reason why I think alcohol is banned is because, especially among the full blood, you know, are the majority of where their blood's Lakota. No tolerance for alcohol because it was never in the Lakota's life. I know you could date wine back to the Egyptians, to the Romans, you know, and there's a tolerance there. But for us, it was just introduced in the 1800s, and they use that to hurt our people also, to take our land from us by getting them intoxicated. So it's still happening. They know alcohol is banned here. They set up right on the outskirts of the reservation, and they prey upon our people and our people's sickness and the disease that has affected them. They make millions of dollars off our people, yet they do not contribute anything back. They do not try to help these people. You could be drunk or off your feet and go up there and they'll still give you more. You know, it's keeping you in that cycle. And unfortunately for a lot of our people, there's no way out. Because the tribe does not have the funding or the resources to set up our own treatment centers to help them. We have limited resources. And we have a treatment center in Rapid City, but that's always full. It's hard to get our people up there. You know, there's a waiting line.
My experience with Pine Ridge was through the Boys and Girls Clubs of America here in Pine Ridge, and an interesting argument that you'll hear from the national office is that why are we building clubs, which they have all over the country, in a region which does not have the ability to sustain it, have its own economic development. The two largest employers on the reservation were tribal government and social services. So that's where people are working if they're working, and that's where they're getting a paycheck then. A dollar that goes into Pine Ridge doesn't stay in Pine Ridge. It gets spent in a border town. It's not just alcohol that's we're sucking the money from the reservation, but it's everything. All of the border towns benefit from the services that they can provide that aren't provided in Pine Ridge. The thing that I noticed while in Pine Ridge that was the most interesting is this love-hate relationship between the border towns and the reservation, and that they really don't want anything to do with them when it comes to dealing with the people and dealing with the issues, but they will welcome the business. People don't see how much these towns survive off of money that goes into the reservation. The Boys and Girls Club, where I was working, opened a new facility with a pool, and it's the only pool that's on the reservation. So it's like 500 square miles or something like that is the reservation. It's the only pool. We used to take our kids to Gordon, which was 40 miles away, to swim once a week during the summer. And we did that because the pool in Rushville said that they would rather not have us come down. And then when the pool opened at the Boys and Girls Club, Rushville was a little anxious because the money that they would charge every summer for kids to come down and swim wouldn't be there because the kids in Pine Ridge had a place to swim, and they wouldn't be coming down to Rushville anymore, and they were worried about what that was going to do for their business. And I thought, yeah, you should be worried that you just want to take, but you don't really want to give anything back to the reservation or care about what's going on. If they don't even want to visit, you just kind of want to ignore it and pretend that it's not there and just complain about it. And I think that that's all part of what Whiteclay is about. Just wanting to ignore the issue, wanting to stay in an oblivious state. It's an expendable place, and it's an expendable population, and so we don't really have to put time and resources and attention to it because it's not worth it.
Today, we are going to march with our prayers. We're going to march with love and unity against hate. Hate, the Washichus. Oh, heads it, Torello. Let's march.
Many of the children here have been orphaned by what happens in this small hamlet. Many children suffer through their lives. Many children are the victims of abuse because of what happens here. We have children here in this community, great many of them, who suffer from the impact of fetal alcohol syndrome. That is indeed our fault. That responsibility falls on us. It falls on their parents, it falls upon the leaders, it falls upon the community, but it falls on us too as Nebraskans. So when we come across in the community those who have been impacted and devastated by alcohol, by things that they had no control over, we are responsible for that too. We are going to have a very peaceful and very prayerful march today. And as we march, I want us to reflect in each and every step about what we are doing, build resolve, to go home to where we live and to talk about what is happening here. This is a letter that was written to the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission by former U.S. Senator Bob Kerrey. It says, "Dear Commissioner, I am writing on the occasion of this coming Saturday's peaceful act of protest of the state of Nebraska's decision to license the sale of alcoholic beverages in Whiteclay, Nebraska. Who can deny the fact that the only reason the town of Whiteclay exists is to sell alcoholic beverages to men and women who live at the Pine Ridge? The Oglala Lakota Nation have taken the extreme measure of banning the sale of alcohol, and their leaders have formally acted over 60 times to no avail, decrying the sale of alcohol by their Nebraska neighbors.
It is safe to say that Whiteclay is the poster child for opportunists in border towns.
You know, when a people is oppressed for long periods of times, it breeds despair, frustration, battered homes, battered families, broken dreams, and no hope for the future. And because our traditional spiritual teachings had been taken from us, it left a hunger in our spirit, it left a hunger in our heart, and we end up replacing that with the poison, chemical warfare of alcohol. So we have to now stand together across this country to continue this renaissance, this rebirth of traditional spiritual way of life to fill that hunger. And we no longer will have a need for that alcohol. I can say so myself, because when I went back to the Chanupa, to the sweat, to the Sundance, to the ceremonies, it has allowed me now to be sober for 32 years from the vials of alcohol. In the meantime, this cancer is going to fester, and those people that own these establishments, they have no heart, they have no spirit, they will continue to peddle this poison for profit, they have no dignity, no integrity. And so, I want to ask you all to go back and organize. And if we have to do it, we're going to come back and we're going to put a barricade around this whole community. We're not going to allow the liquor, the alcohol in here, and we're not going to allow our people to come in here and continue funding their money to these people and perpetuating the problem.
A law was proposed this legislative session that could use taxes on the sale of alcohol to create a liquor control law enforcement fund to provide for full-time law enforcement in Whiteclay. It was held in committee due to the pressing budget concerns that are in Nebraska now. There are other ideas, unpresented ideas that probably have never been examined before. And one of those ideas is in deputizing the Pine Ridge Police Department.
One of the things we're looking at is cross-deputization. Where the state of Nebraska deputizes Pine Ridge Police to provide law enforcement in Whiteclay. And we want them to be down here to help solve the problem. There's no easy answers here. No easy answers here. But I want you to know that I care personally, the governor cares, the colonel cares, the state government of Nebraska cares about what happens in Whiteclay and what happens in Pine Ridge.
As we leave from this place today, I want to point out that it was just a few short years ago over on this border that hundreds of you came from Pine Ridge, the Oglala relatives and others who came here wanting a better way for ourselves and our children, wanting to sober the people up, and we were met with resistance there and even arrested for walking across an imaginary line. When they ask if we win or not, I will have to hearken back on the fact that those who arrested us are here today standing with us. That is a victory.
He wants to know where. We're going to be coming down. We're going to be between these two silver buildings. We're going to be praying for this town. So you need to move this line to the other side of town.
Okay, the agreement was between these two buildings. That's what Mr. Bellecourt agreed to last night.
Well, that could be. From what I heard, it was right here on the street.
Okay. That was just the agreement last night, Mr. Bellecourt, between these buildings.
Okay, I'll check out with them.
Great.
Again.
Thank you.
This is the Nebraska State Patrol. May I have your attention, please? You are welcome to Nebraska. You may not pass the yellow tape, or enforcement action will be taken.
back up there. Come on, go, guys.
We in Nebraska have always maintained, at least to date anyway, that facilities like this, we don't want in our state. We don't have what we call expanded gambling. We don't have casinos. Some states do, and they are sovereign, just like this nation is sovereign, and they have a right to make those choices. We pay a price for those choices on our side. We see a lot of people cross the border, spend their dollars, leave their dollars there, and we see an increase in bankruptcies, we see an increase in family problems, we see a whole bunch of things. Now, needless to say, if the governor of South Dakota wanted to send me some money for that, I would take it, but that's not going to happen, and I know that. What we can do, however, is figure out ways to work together and cooperate on some of the issues that we do face. And I see this law enforcement issue as part of that. Again, our belief is that law enforcement is done very well, and there isn't any reason why our law enforcement can't work with reservation law enforcement to try to assure everybody that the rules and the laws are being followed.
I don't see cross-deputization as or will I ever see it as a solution to a problem that's existing in Whiteclay. You know, the problem exists that Whiteclay is within our buffer zone of 5 miles. That's our first problem. Secondly, what we're doing with cross-deputization, we're alleviating Nebraska's problem. It's your alcohol that's being sold to our people. And until we address the alcohol problem, then I see no solution. Cross-deputization will only alleviate Nebraska police from their job.
Here's the difficulty we have. These are lawful businesses. They have a right under your law or our law to exist. Now, I guess what we're trying to do is, in a very good faith way, try to figure out how to deal with the law enforcement issues. And if we can be a part of that, we want to be a part of that. But if you're asking me, if you're saying, Mike, shut down the alcohol, boy, under our law, they have a right to exist.
The one big issue that I have with the cross-deputization is funding, because I don't know if any of you are aware, but our law enforcement is severely underfunded. We have been at the same funding level for about the last 6 years. And our operations and maintenance for our law enforcement, we're only funded for 1 county and we cover almost 3 counties.
Sergeant David Sankey of the State Patrol stated that to really take care of Whiteclay, the jurisdiction, and take 4 or 5 full-time officers to maintain it during the period that sales of alcohol are on sale there, and that the total cost will be between $260,000 and $325,000 per year.
I would like to know the revenue from liquor sales in Whiteclay, how much taxes are received by the state of Nebraska from that revenue from liquor sales.
I believe it's $165,000 per annum. Then there's a beer excise tax. I don't know what that is. I think that's about, what, 55,000? 95,000.
So that totals up to
200 and some thousand.
And we're discussing cross-deputization for the reservation.
To operate in their jurisdiction.
To operate in their jurisdiction, but I'm also hearing the funding is not there.
I'm not sure the funding is there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then accrue this much taxes, this much revenue from Whiteclay.
Very respectfully, I say to you that it's almost like tracing Nebraska dollars into the casinos. It's almost like saying, gosh, that's not fair. All of our dollars are coming over here, but I don't know how you solve those kinds of problems. We so far have not wanted that. Now, I suppose one way of preventing Nebraska dollars from coming to Iowa casinos is to say, well, we'll have casinos. But so far, at least one governor is saying, I don't want them. I really don't want them. I don't want...
You don't want casinos?
And I understand your position on liquor, and I really do, and I respect it, and I honor it. But it's you know, I hope you respect our view too.
We met back in the late 70s over the same issue. Locally with the establishment owners there. One time we met with all the clergy, and it's been going on through the 80s and the 90s. And this is the first time, I think, and I thank Governor Johans again for putting this on his priority list and trying to come up with a Band-Aid. We didn't have any Band-Aids back then.
In the 3 years that Senator Preister has been coming before this committee, introducing bills on Whiteclay, 6 more people have died relating to the sale of alcohol in Whiteclay. 2 underage kids were killed in a car accident in Whiteclay, while 3 other minors were seriously injured. A man burned in his trailer a quarter mile from town, and no one reported the fire or responded to it. 3 people died from exposure in the town of Whiteclay. The intent of LD 995 is to support Indian tribes, specifically the Ogallala tribe, and their efforts to control the social, economic, cultural, and health-related damage that alcohol is causing to tribal members from the sale of alcohol in Whiteclay. A license will not be issued in any unincorporated village which is located within 5 miles of the boundary of any Indian country within which the tribal council has banned the sale and consumption of alcoholic liquor, unless within the unincorporated village there is adequate existing law enforcement.
I don't believe the commission has ever taken a stance that there's not adequate law enforcement in the area of Whiteclay or Sheridan. Major concerns were brought before us. The commission asked both the Nebraska State Patrol and the Sheridan County Sheriff whether they felt adequate law enforcement was located. The reason for that is one of the considerations that for new applications or for renewals, that's one of the things that may be considered. Neither one of those entities would give us a definition of what constitutes adequate law enforcement. I'm pretty sure that I don't know. If there had been a statement from those entities that there was not adequate law enforcement, then of course on the renewal statute there probably would have been a hearing on those. But absent an affirmation that there was not adequate law enforcement, you have a right to renew your liquor license. So the 4 licenses up there, when they come up for renewal, you know, if they comply with the remainder of the act, are entitled to receive their liquor license renewed.
Not one thing has been said about personal responsibility here today. The personal responsibility of the individuals that are using this alcoholic beverages. I'm an Irishman, and I know how bad the Irish can get. I have a lot of relatives who drank too much in their day. And maybe I even have at times. But nevertheless, we can't go blaming anybody else. Now we know the solution isn't just closing down Whiteclay. Instead of 60 people in the afternoon around there that have been drinking most of the day, in Whiteclay, you're going to find 15 in this town, 20 in this town, 5 in this town, 10 in this town, and 15 in this town, all probably within 20 miles of the South Dakota border. And think of the trip the miners they have to drive to get back to Pine Ridge. So it's probably safer having them headquartered in Pine Ridge than it is scattered clear across the northern part of the state of Nebraska.
Can somebody help me out before I ask you this question? How many establishments in Whiteclay selling alcohol? We dealt with this last year. 4? Anybody know how many people live in Sheridan County in general?
maybe more.
Jim, honestly, do you really think that any of these establishments would be as prosperous and as prevalent as they are if it wasn't for the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation?
Probably that, maybe.
Okay.
And the local inhabitants too. I mean, that makes up a big part of it all.
The bottom line is, there's a problem here, okay? I agree with you, personal responsibility is an issue, but I ask you the question again. Would these establishments be as prosperous as they are, and would you be sitting here lobbying for them if it wasn't for the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation?
Well,
we can start.
Exhibit 2. Oh, I'm sorry.
Are we ready to begin, Commissioners? We're ready to begin, Commissioners. This hearing before the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission is to allow Thomas Bernard, seeking to do business as Whiteclay Liquor, located in Whiteclay, Nebraska, seeking a Class B license, to show cause whether the application should be approved and issued, specifically for the Commission review to determine whether the issuance of the license will be required by the present or future public convenience and necessity.
Can you explain to the Commission why it's needed, why your establishment?
There were 4 licenses before. In it, the town took care of 4 licenses. If just because they lost 1 license, now, if there's not a 4th license that's going to be filled, what's going to happen the next time that somebody has a violation? Will somebody else's license be taken away then? And then there'll only be 2, and then 1, and then eventually none?
So you're going to remain living in Shadron and be an absentee owner of this establishment?
Oh, I'll probably go up. The person that's going to run this is going to be my twin brother. I've got a good insurance business, and I've got the other State Line Club. I'm just expanding my horizons a little bit.
Since the license for Arrowhead was lost, if this were granted, this would be the 4th license in Whiteclay. Do you agree with that?
The one that we canceled is on appeal, isn't it?
It's on appeal, but I don't believe that they're open under a stay.
No, but I say...
It's conceivable they could come back.
They could come back.
Yes. The status was that the license was canceled due to the conviction of Donald Schwarting. They did not appeal that revocation. His son filed an application to replace him, which the commission denied, and that is on appeal. So if the judge would reverse the commission, he could order a license to be issued for that establishment. Do you have any further comments you wish to make, Mr. Mayor?
No.
Okay. Any further questions from the Attorney General's office?
No.
Any further questions from the Commissioner?
To deny.
Going deny, it's unanimous.
Motion is made to deny, vote is 3-0. You'll receive an order setting forth the specific findings of fact in the mail. Thank you.
We will officially open our hearing this morning regarding application for Nebraska liquor license request from Tom Bernard, application Whiteclay. And it looks like all the paperwork is in order.
I've been asked to present to the commissioners these petitions signed by 58 residents of Sheridan County and some folks from Pine Ridge and one I think from Box Butte County as well, which says simply, dear commissioners, we oppose the application by Thomas Bernard for a new liquor license in the town of Whiteclay, Nebraska. We believe that a new license in Whiteclay is in clear conflict with the interest of public health and education in Sheridan County and the Pine Ridge Reservation.
When we first came and visited this area, I was taken to Whiteclay as, oh, you got to see this, as a almost tourist attraction, but with an appalling point of view.
Can you tell me where a person living on the reservation is expected to drink that beer without breaking the law?
Okay, I'm Tom Bernard. I guess that's what everybody's come to oppose me for. You know, there's a lot of talk right now about what's going on in Whiteclay. Basically, I'm a business person. I'm looking for an opportunity to start a business up there, just to be about like everybody else, to try to make a profit and establish an income. They're down to 3 now. If they get rid of another one, then it's 2. If they get a petty deal on somebody, then it's 1. You think they're going to stop buying alcohol? No, they're going to get in their cars. They're going to drive to Shattuck. They're going to drive to Rushville, Gordon, Scenic, whatever towns is close, Ulrichs, Martin. They're going to purchase it wherever they can, because it's not going to solve the problem. They're just going to put that many more people on the road. I've talked to people, yet so many people that signed a deal. I could go around and talk to people and get however many I wanted to, and it'd be prominent people. I don't have to go just talk to anybody on the street. If it was voted on, 99% of the people would want to see Whiteclay just stay just like it is, to keep people from traveling.
When people make that statement, if we do not allow them to break the law at Whiteclay, then they're just going to break the law somewhere else. That statement, to me and to Native people, is blatantly and patently racist. Because what it does, it says, it's okay, you keep them over here. It's okay to do that. It's okay for the illegalities over there, but we don't want them coming in to our community. It's a subtle way of saying, let's keep those drunken Indians over in Whiteclay, Nebraska.
What is still the issue here is we have to make a decision. We have to make a decision based on free enterprise, moral values.
But there is an order that's established by the highest order of all. There is an order to that, okay? And the order to that is life first, liberty, and then the pursuit of happiness. And free enterprise is not the #1 thing, okay? It is not the most important thing in this country. It's not. And it's not what we fight for. And you know what, guys? 90% of those folks that are on the street, I know, because I've been down there every day for the last 6 months. And I know they are veterans, that's right. They are people who have fought for this country. And they are people who don't want to be drunk, okay? Their choice, they decided to take a drink, and unfortunately, it got a hold of them. They did not decide to die a slow death on the street in Whiteclay, Nebraska.
At this time, we're going to adjourn the hearing and take all the information under advisement. Since we are lacking Commissioner Hay Springs, we will let him have access to all this information, and we will decide as a complete board when we meet a week from today.
9:45. 9:45. It'll be on the agenda for next week at 9:45.
I would ask for a motion to do one of 2 things, either recommend or deny application to the state. Questions after. We'll have discussion after the motion.
I would move that we approve the application.
Motion's been made to approve application. Is there a second to that motion?
Also,
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
in view of the fact that the other license has been approved, or reapproved, or whatever you want to call it.
Swarty?
Yeah. Do you still feel like that's would be a viable business?
I don't know.
To put another one in there?
It probably still would be a viable business, but it always said that I was applying for the 4th license.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I still stand, so I'm going to rescind my application right now. But I'm not going to continue on.
After new information being presented, there's no action taken. We don't have anything to act on.
See his jacket still there, and see that stain right there? That's that blood that came on. Put it back right here where he always has it. Right there. Because where'd that cup come from? Because whenever those guys came back here a lot of times, and it wasn't back. It wasn't here. After they took him out of here, remember in that black bag?
That's all you left.
This is where Rudy sleeps.
Rudy?
Pretty hip. That's where Rudy sleeps, but he don't come back here no more. That's Rudy's blanket, but he sleeps by us, isn't it, babe? And I don't like to come back here because, you know, Seth was my cousin. I don't like to come back here. It makes me feel bad. Because Seth, you know what?
He's a good man.
One of the things that the commission can consider in issuing these licenses is the existence or absence of other retail licenses within the neighborhood or community of the proposed location. And then we're adding that the commission can look at what is the impact this license is going to have upon the ability of a local governing body to provide its normal infrastructure, primarily in law enforcement. Up in Whiteclay, we had a license which was canceled by the commission, the Don Schwarting license, because the owner was a convicted felon. His son applied for that license to replace him, basically, because within the last 4 years, there have been 2 violations from the Arrowhead Inn where he was in place. The commission did not feel that he was able to comply with liquor law. District Court reversed us, and that's going to be appealed. But the District Court, in its de novo review, said, oh, there's not enough evidence there. These changes, I think, would help take care of that type of issue.
Give me your best guess, if language like this passes, Liquor Control Commission takes language like this, goes up to Whiteclay and does what? I've been thinking the whole time, or trying to say, this is something that we can use as a hammer to go get, I mean, everybody wants to clean that garbage up there. The problem is, does this do it? Is this the hammer that's needed?
When I first read this bill, I didn't think Whiteclay at all. And that is a horrendous situation up there. And I don't have the answers to how you fix that. What this bill would do is it would limit the number of licenses. However, that doesn't seem to be the problem in Whiteclay. They have a problem with alcoholism that needs to be addressed. And I'm not sure that if you even restrict the number of licenses from the current 3 down to 2 or 1, that's really going to change the basic problem or meet the need that they have up there.
All the people that are here today have held one common interest, and that's ensuring the public safety around Whiteclay, Nebraska. Today we take a giant step forward in addressing law enforcement issues in the area by signing an agreement that will allow deputized tribal officers to patrol a 2-square-mile zone around Whiteclay. By no means do we enter into this agreement under the misconception that it's a panacea that's going to solve all the problems in this border town. We know that it's not. But we do believe that with the combined efforts of the State Patrol and the Sheridan County Sheriff's Office, along with the Pine Ridge Reservation Police Department, this will have a significant impact in the fight against crime in the area. Before we sign the documents, I want to acknowledge and thank the United States Congress and Congressman Tom Osborne for securing a $100,000 congressional grant. The money is going to be used to offset costs associated with patrols that may be incurred by the tribe. Specifically, the agreement, which is the first of its kind, it's a deputization agreement, incidentally, not a cross-deputization agreement. It allows tribal officers who've been certified by the state of Nebraska to arrest both native and non-native lawbreakers in the specified area, 2-square-mile area surrounding Whiteclay, 1 mile on each side. And all of those arrested, regardless of race, will be taken immediately to a responsible official of the state of Nebraska or Sheridan County and have their cases taken care of in state or federal court.
By coordinating our resources, we are taking an important step forward in working together to address crime in not only in the Whiteclay area, but as the years go by in other areas. And I just think that when we can stop the flow of alcohol, that's going to make a tremendous difference. And I think that could be one of our firm first objectives, is how can we stop that flow? You know, people, if you want something, you're going to get it. Is that true or not? You're going to get it. However, if we make it harder to get, I think that's what we want to do, make it harder to get.
This is the density concept, allowing our State Liquor Control Commission to examine a request for a license and then would allow the license to be evaluated for whether or not there would be, quote, undue concentration of licenses with similar privileges, and as a result, require the use of additional law enforcement resources.
Nebraska has a very high number per capita of licenses. Some studies show us as number one. Depends on how you chop it down. The commission thinks that this is the first step of trying to use a rational, reasonable approach to limit those areas, number of licenses in areas where law enforcement is already seeing a problem.
J, line 23 down there, whether the type of business or activity proposed to be operated in conjunction with the proposed license is and will be consistent with the public interest. Go up before the proposed new language, the nature of the neighborhood or community. Somebody can walk up to Whiteclay right now, use any of this language and say, done. You guys are done up here. Right or wrong? Somebody in the Liquor Control Commission, let me be clear, can go up there right now and say you're all done.
No.
Why?
Because we've been reversed by the District Court of Lancaster County on that very same issue.
The native people are like the miner's canary. If there is something that besets our community, besets our people wherever they may be, it is only a matter of time until they impact your own communities. I would challenge you to watch and pick up the newspaper for 1 week and see how many young teenagers from my family and your family will be lost because a lack of law enforcement or because they illegally were able to acquire alcohol because it is so prevalent throughout our state. Maybe I come to you today not as a Winnebago, maybe I come to you today as a Nebraskan who reads that same paper that you read and realize that there's a family who suffers because we fail to regulate, we fail to teach, we fail to do what we can do legislatively to make sure that liquor laws are carried out fairly and effectively.
And it's our opinion that this gives the Liquor Control Commission the discretion to refuse a license. We don't think that it's prudent to change a state statute so that it's left up to an opinion. Now, frankly, the Liquor Control Commission that we have today is a very fair commission. But what this bill does is allow future Liquor Control Commissioners to, well, it's potential for favoritism is what it is.
I guess from our perspective, competition is the biggest thing. When my members go to look at building a new location, even expanding locations that they have, you know, the product mix of having alcohol available is important to the success of that store. And I think that competition should be what eliminates, you know, liquor licenses as opposed to someone dictating.
It's not too much to ask, I don't think, is it? And with all due respect to the opposition to this bill, that we could have a little more guidance as to what kind of language would be acceptable.
From the position of the Nebraska Restaurant Association, Nebraska Retail Federation, absolutely. We would welcome the chance to discuss it further and see if there can't be something figured out. The traditional, blunt truth about whether you're willing to talk or not talk is whether or not you got the votes. So I guess if you got the votes to stop it completely, then there's really no reason to talk.
The opponents were exactly of one stripe, and they were people who are newly into the business of getting liquor licenses for convenience and grocery stores who don't want a fettered mechanism of continuing their role of expanding in the marketplace. Local officials, not in opposition. Indian tribes, not in opposition, but in support. Nebraskans for Peace, historical concerns in this area, they were for the bill, not against the bill. Who was against the bill? It wasn't for the argument, this isn't a solution. It was for the argument, oh my God, don't put another layer of discretion in a decision maker who might treat us badly and deny us a license.
We'll move on to LD 845, Center Land. Is there a
Well, if you look in that pile right there, I see 3 pop cans and 100 beer cans. Usually in about a week's time, I'll have about 1,000 pounds. Anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200, 15. The most I ever took was 1,600 pounds, and that's only on my pickup. I don't have a trailer or anything. And 99% of the cans come from Whiteclay. The favorite brand used to be Budweiser, but now it's these malt liquors. These malt liquors they're selling now, they're 9, 10, 12% beers, and that's mainly what they're buying is that. See, like that one there. That's 9, 10%, 12% beer. Camel, Hurricane, Evil Eye. This is the new one. It's 10% alcohol. The big cans, that's what they go for, the big cans, because they sell them cheap. It's a cheap drunk. That's what it is. Like it used to be, you could drink Budweiser and take you a 6-pack or something, but nowadays they drink 1, 2 cans of those big cans, and that's all it takes. It's like drinking wine. 1 can's like drinking a pint of wine.
This hearing before the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission is a review of an administrative citation which has been made against Clay and Daniel Bremer doing business as State Line Liquor, current holder of a Class B liquor license located in Whiteclay, Nebraska. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether or not a violation of the Nebraska Liquor Control Act and or the rules and regulations of the Nebraska Liquor Control Commission has occurred by the licensee. If found guilty by the commission, the license may be suspended, canceled, or revoked.
I had conducted a traffic stop in Whiteclay. And while I was going about my business with the traffic stop at hand, I had an individual come up to my car and tell me that there was a fight occurring between a male and a female subject, and he pointed out the direction where they were at. I concluded my traffic stop and went to the area which he indicated and made contact with a male subject, female subject that I identified as Miss Thomas Waters and Linda Whiteface. I asked them if they had been fighting, and they told me no. I thought they appeared to be intoxicated. I ended my contact with them, and then I went back to the State Line, not State Line Liquor, but the actual State Line where I parked and began monitoring traffic again. I heard a lot of yelling and commotion coming from the same general area where these 2 subjects had been previously. I drove back down to that general area, and as I was driving down there, basically looking for a fight, I watched Miss Whiteface and Mr. Waters walking from the area near the Fireside Inn to the State Line Liquor and watch them go inside.
Did you notice if they had any alcohol with them when they walked in?
No, their hands were empty.
And what happened then?
I pulled in to the parking area between Fireside Inn and State Line Liquor, and as I was pulling in, Mr. Waters and Miss Whiteface come walking out of State Line Liquor with a can of beer in their hands. This is when I contacted them after they walked out of State Line Liquor. What you're seeing, the building in front of it, that is State Line Liquor, and to the right is Fireside Inn, where they had walked from to and then walked out with the beer.
She's scared that her husband might get hit by him. What's his name? I don't know, but it's hollering right now.
Did you just go in and buy that? No.
Yeah, 'cause you have to get back that way.
You didn't buy that? Okay, who took the money in and give it to the clerk?
I did.
Okay, so you guys walked in there empty-handed, right? And then you come out with a beer, but you didn't buy it.
I didn't.
So is that beer stolen?
I didn't buy nothing.
You didn't buy nothing. Did you buy it?
Yeah.
You did? Well, come here then. I'm just going to give you a breath test, that's all. Don't fall down now. Deep breath in. Blow. Blow, 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 stop. 274, whoops. Write it down, 274 PBT. Good. Old Tom Waters, has he been giving you problems tonight? Earlier? Anything lately?
Oh, not for a couple hours anyway. He disappeared for a while.
Okay. And what's that lady's name that's with him?
No idea.
I've
been out here every day.
Did they just come in and buy beer?
Yeah,
Tom did?
the gal did.
The gal did? Dang it. Okay. What did they buy when they came in?
A couple of hurricanes.
Okay. Just that one hurricane, or they buy two? Okay. I heard them yelling and raising hell down here, so I thought, all right, come down here. I see them staggering in, then they come out with a beer.
Yeah, this was
just like now, just like last 5 minutes.
But they were raising hell a couple hours.
Yeah, and I think they're raising hell again. Well,
as soon as they got the beer, they started raising hell.
yeah, well, Tom, I give him a breathalyzer, and he was like .274.
No shit.
Yeah.
That girl didn't seem like she was too nervous.
Well, she looked like she's in as bad a shape, to be honest with you. Yeah. So let me figure it out. I'll be back to visit with you, okay? I'm not going to write you a ticket, okay? You understand that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I know, you're just doing your job.
How much have you had to drink tonight? I can't arrest you for DUI, right? Because you haven't been driving.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. How much have you had to drink tonight, do you think? Just relax.
Are you taking me in?
No, I'm not. I'm asking. I'm just asking.
About 6 cans of Hurricanes.
6 cans of Hurricanes?
Yeah.
Okay, all I want to do is get a breath sample from you. That's it. And then after that, I'm all done.
Can you buy me a pack of cigarettes?
No, I can't buy you a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, what did she blow when you tested her?
Miss Waters blew a 0.246.
Is it, in your mind, common practice that amongst individuals that might come into your store that might buy liquor, they may store the liquor in their sleeves or in their pockets?
Yeah, they do it all the time.
Were you present the night of September 7th?
No.
And who was employed at that time?
Don Trombley was.
When did you come in contact with Mr. Water and Ms. Whiteface?
The first time that night?
Yes.
About 7:30, I guess.
Okay. Would they come in to buy?
Yeah.
Okay. And did they appear intoxicated at that point in time?
At that time, no.
Okay. Did you sell them anything?
6 cans of Hurricane, I believe it was.
And when they came the second time, did both of them come in?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was their purpose in coming back?
When they got inside there, he had a beer underneath his belt, under his shirt, and he pulled it out, and he said it was warm and he wanted to trade for a cold one, and I said we don't do that, and she started raising all kinds of hell, and I just more or less chased them off.
You heard Trooper Downey's testimony?
Yeah.
He questioned you at 11:15 or 11:30 as to whether or not you sold them the beer?
Yeah.
Okay, did he ask you when you sold them the beer?
No, he just asked me if I sold him any beer.
Okay. And when did you sell them the beer?
Approximately 7:30.
Okay. And you did not sell them any beer at 11:30?
No, they were trying to trade that beer.
Mr. Trombley, when Investigator Downey came in to talk to you, this was shortly after, I guess, Ms. Whiteface and Mr. Waters left your establishment, is that right?
Yeah.
And when he came in, he asked you who you sold the liquor to, and you told him that it was Mr. Waters, is that right?
No.
Oh, did you say it was Ms. Whiteface?
Yeah, that
Okay.
I was referring to earlier tonight.
You didn't tell him that it was earlier in the night, did you?
That's what I was referring to.
He told you that you were going to be cited, or at least a report was going to be sent to the Liquor Commission for selling to an intoxicated person, is that right?
Actually, he said he didn't know what was going to come out of it.
He told you he was going to send a report to the Liquor
Yeah,
Commission?
that's all he did.
And as a result of that, you told him that you didn't think that Ms. Whiteface was intoxicated?
At the time of the sale.
You didn't tell Investigator Downey at that time, well, I sold to them earlier in the evening?
I didn't say earlier, he just asked me if I sold it to him, and I said, yeah.
I think that they were intoxicated at 11:30, but I'm just not sure when they bought this last can of beer. And I guess I can't tell from the evidence. I would vote not guilty.
I think I'm going by the trooper's testimony. I'd say guilty. Well, the facts are, I think they are guilty, but I don't think the evidence is clear enough to convict them. So I'd have to vote not guilty.
Did they just come in and buy beer?
Yeah,
Tom did?
the gal did.
What did they buy when they came in?
A couple of hurricanes.
Just that one hurricane, or did they buy two?
A beer store near the South Dakota-Nebraska border is the center of controversy for some members of the Oglala Sioux tribe.
This week, the beer store escaped charges that could have caused them to lose their license. Fox 7's Justin Pizzero was in Whiteclay, Nebraska today and has more on the story. Justin?
Well, good evening, Jack and Julie. The beer store is called State Line Liquors, and its name suits it well. It just sits 200 feet from the South Dakota state line and the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, where alcohol is banned. Activists have been trying to shut down State Line and the two other liquor stores just steps away. This week, the Nebraska Liquor Council voted 2-1 not to impose penalties against the store for allegedly selling beer to an intoxicated person. One commissioner says he believes State Line was guilty, but there was not enough evidence to convict. That has some tribal members outraged, saying that it's a slap in their face.
They're killing our people. Alcoholism on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation throughout America, it will kill faster than diabetes, heart trouble, cancer, you name anything.
That 18 highway, you see all of dead sign. That's alcohol.
The three stores combined sell an estimated 4 million cans of beer a year. We tried to talk to State Line Liquors. They refused to comment. On Monday, some activists are planning a rally in Rushville, Nebraska to show their support for banning the renewal of liquor licenses in Whiteclay. Also on Monday, county commissioners will discuss license renewals for Whiteclay stores. Jack, back to you.
Hey.
Lakota people, Indian people, the little white clay, we have problem. We want that alcohol out of that because you take care of your law and order here. But the white clay, there's nothing there. That's where the alcohol is.
We want that to be stopped. And if we have to, we can keep on fighting and fighting until that is moved away or do something about it. There's a lot of people got killed there.
We are writing this letter to inform you that the Nebraska chapter of the National Association of Social Workers strongly supports that you vote on March 6th to forward the concerns that have been expressed by numerous citizens and other groups to the Nebraska State Liquor Commission for further consideration.
I have a series of petitions here from the folks in Scotts Bluff that I would like to share with you. This was an easy project that I accomplished over just a few days this last week. I have 92 people that signed this as a message to you.
In November of 2000, in looking at just the issue of homelessness within the four-county area that we serve, we decided to take a standardized scale known as the Skid Row scale that had been used in Seattle, in Denver, in a lot of other major cities. And we applied it to Whiteclay and it fit. The only thing that we're missing in Whiteclay to be a true Skid Row is a plasma collection center, someplace where you can sell your blood.
And I'm not going to stand on morality, because I have found out in politics morality doesn't work. So I'm going to just tell you it's the law. And we're here to tell you live up to the law. And we want that cancer, that Sheridan County tumor called Skid Row of Nebraska. We want the liquor establishments gone. That is not what makes a healthy town or a healthy county.
Sheridan County is famous across the state of Nebraska. It's famous in the halls of the unicameral. They speak of you like they speak of Frank Lemire, not in favorable terms.
Thank you very much.
And we need more time, commissioners. We need more time. We need to take this to Lincoln, Nebraska, and deal with it there.
I was hoping that the people in here wouldn't be as naive to think that closing Whiteclay is the answer to the problem. You know, alcohol's been legal in this country since the 1920s. If you close Whiteclay down, then what's the next step when you find that it's not solving the problem? Are we going to close Rushville? Are we going to get the alcohol out of Rushville, out of Sweat, out of Shattern, out of Gordon, out of Martin? Rapid City, I mean, where do we stop?
What amazes me is the people that seem to want to close Whiteclay from selling liquor. They don't live here. They don't understand our way of life, our way of doing business. I've lived here for 70 some years, and then we've always got along fine. Our law does fine.
I can't understand how 3 or 4 places can create such a sensation. I remember, I've lived there for 73 years, and I remember the bad old days with the bootleggers. And when the natives couldn't drink in the saloon, that came into effect, I think, under Dwight Eisenhower. And they opened up the saloon where they could drink over the bar and everything. But it gets back to that bootlegging thing. And I've seen them. I never spent that much time in Whiteclay, but I was there and shopped there and stuff. And I knew there was a couple windows in town that you could knock on, and the window would come open, and a lot of kids and stuff. They didn't. There wasn't much law enforcement or anything in those days, but I think it's better controlled now.
If you move that supply 5 miles down the road, 10 miles down the road, 20 miles down the road, isn't the problem still going to be in Pine Ridge? Maybe rather than shutting down Whiteclay, maybe they need to do something where they can have some regulation of it, put it on the reservation, open it up, let the people have it there. It didn't seem to hurt the United States that much when they did away with prohibition.
And I've been to Whiteclay. I go to the grocery stores. I don't drink, but my husband will have a beer. And I go to church in Pine Ridge, and I meet all those people, and most of them are good people. And the white people in Whiteclay are good people. And I resent Whiteclay being treated the way it's being treated when it's no different really than any place else.
I saw a lot of different faces when I went through there on the 24th. But I seen the same desperation in the eyes of some 20 people that was wandering the streets. I saw no appearance of any law enforcement whatsoever. None. But I do believe, I sincerely believe with all my heart, that we, the residents of Sheridan County, need to understand how important it is for us to take responsibility for what we're doing.
We've heard a lot of stuff, and you guys have pointed out a couple of times you're here for a limited purpose, and that's what I want to focus on. What I handed your council is a Nebraska Supreme Court case talking about renewal of liquor licenses. Not an application, a renewal. And a renewal requires that 3 things be shown. That the license holders still qualified, that the premises is the same place that they were selling before, and that the premises remain suitable for the sale of alcohol that they're doing. That's it. The other factors that were brought before you in 52-132 don't apply in this situation. It's 52-135. Your council can talk to you guys more about that in the back or wherever you talk about it. But you'll find there's only 3 things, and they all qualify right now. These are qualified people running qualified businesses in qualified locations.
We don't think it would be prudent today to make a decision. We haven't had the time to look at this. We just simply have taken the time now to gather information. So we would like to give a written decision at a later date after we've had time to carefully consider all this.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, everybody. Have a safe trip home.
So is that all?
That's it.
Le resolution la kon kaka. Ja resolution le ashikha blawak the headship ya na onke. Le HHS committee le each yopte kya. Na han council kta ukte. In Organized Nation Council kinyecha le yopte kya yachim hanta. Le resolution declaring the town of Whiteclay, Nebraska a public nuisance out. Whereas the town of Whiteclay, Nebraska is located in the southern border of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in less than 2 miles from the population center of the Pine Ridge Village. Whereas the overwhelming majority of alcohol sales in Whiteclay, Nebraska are to members of the Oglala Sioux tribe and other residents on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Whereas the sale of alcohol in Whiteclay presents an unreasonable interference with the health, safety, peace, and comfort of the entire community of the Pine Ridge Reservation. And whereas the sale of alcohol in Whiteclay, Nebraska contributes to the impoverishment of Oglala Lakota people individually and collectively by, among other things, encouraging panhandling, prostitution, alcoholism, and homelessness. And whereas the town of Whiteclay, Nebraska has been the site of numerous unsolved murders of Lakota people, now therefore be it resolved, the Oglala Sioux tribe hereby declares the town of Whiteclay, Nebraska a public nuisance.
It's a memorial song that speaks of a fate that plagues many here and continues to call Dwayne Martin back to Whiteclay. But this time, he's back to serve up complaint notices to the same 3 stores he's battled before. But this protest comes with an ultimatum and a deadline of June 25th.
We are going to pursue a blockade. Our claim is that they violated the Treaty of 1868's Bad Man Clause, which is Article 1.
A clause that binds the U.S. to compensate Native Americans for damages that Martin says includes lives lost.
Yeah, I got a genuine problem with that. I want to quit. I want to quit because I'm 39 years old and I had good jobs and everything, but it's just like alcohol brings me down.
And evidence of the $4 million alcohol industry is everywhere. What's not is where the responsibility lies. The willing customers who choose to cross the border, or the Nebraska stores doing legal business near a dry reservation with the highest alcohol mortality rate in the nation.
Look at the contaminants around here. You already seen a majority of our people, still intoxicated early morning.
Just 2-mile walk. That's all it is. Just, it's right here and it's easy. If it was like over in Rushville, then I don't think us guys will be walking over that way.
Legal but a lethal temptation, Martin says he will work to physically barricade off in an effort to even save one person. In Pine Ridge, Catherine Kim, Dakota Territory News.
Much time, maybe if we start something. My door's closing early. You know what I mean? Yeah.
This is the Office of the Attorney General from the state of Nebraska, And maybe that's them over there, because there's a whole bunch of Washingtons pulled in and they're all sitting in there. So.
What we want to ask you about today is we entered into a contract for law enforcement services about 8 months ago. Are you willing to implement it? If you are not, we need to find a way to spend this grant money. It's $100,000, perhaps $200,000 if we get the continuation of the grant money. We want to find a way to use this money to improve the life for the citizens of Whiteclay and for the citizens of this reservation.
We've been into a real heavy cash flow problem for public safety, and I know that we were slated to lose many officers here. Okay, so it kind of put a setback on what we started, and but I'm still on the intent that this original agreement was to fund $250,000. I mean, $100,000 can maybe supplement 1 or 2 people. But we have the cost of vehicles, you have the cost of equipment, you have the cost, there's other costs that comes with this. Chief of Police did bring this over at a meeting with the president, and we are discussing this. The direction was that he is to step into it and see what we can do with this $100,000. But if it comes back, we're going to put the original tag of $250,000.
The agreement that you signed was for $100,000, and enough time has passed that we can now use that time.
We can't afford to be dragging our heels on this. So we've already approved this, and if we're not going to honor our end of the agreement, I guess it would be in the best interest of all that we take action today to either go with it or terminate it.
My issue was to get our people off the streets of Whiteclay and put them up for 8 hours to sober them up. That wasn't done before because of the jurisdiction issue. So I was hoping that this will afford our tribal officers to go in there, remove our tribal members, bring them back to our jails, and for 8 hours, dry them up.
As the Oglala tribe has just opened up a facility right across the border, just right there, not even a mile away. How hard is it going to be to amend the agreement so that our law enforcement can pick up our own tribal members and bring them back to that facility?
That's a jurisdiction issue, and that's something we would have to discuss with the county attorney, because state law enforcement officers don't have jurisdiction to take and transport prisoners out of state.
Motion made by Ruth, seconded by Barney Whiteface, Bernard Whiteface, to continue with the deputization agreement, the MOU.
This is to continue with the original agreement that was passed by the tribal council.
Austin Watkins?
Yes.
Garfield Steele?
No.
Juanita Sherritt?
Yes.
Mary Porthunder?
No.
Tom Porbear?
No.
Will Peters?
No.
Paul Little?
Yes.
Philip Goodcrow?
Yes.
I brought this complaint and I want to share it with you real quick. I, Russell, and Chief Oliver have been working on the liquor sales establishments in Whiteclay, and we're going to be bringing a barricade to it on the 25th of June. So there's a lot of interesting things that's going on. So this, we wanted to share with you guys, but I'm also going to present it to the Vice Chairman of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, so that in effort for this to get signed here today, it will be pushed forward so that way we have the people to be involved in this. Copier will see you hot. Oh, that locked it. Let me get this over to Alex.
You got that press release?
Yeah. Maybe we should go inside here where it's cool, huh?
The Moccasin Telegraph works very quickly. Clear down where I come from in Winnebago country, we had got the word that South Dakota authorities and Nebraska authorities were going to do what they could to intimidate and to disrupt today. 10 miles to the south of here, I see law enforcement in somewhat of a small convoy take a left and a right onto those country roads. When I came through Whiteclay, I seen them armed to the teeth. And what kind of message does that send to those in the Oglala nation, to those in this community who want to change things for the generations to come, for the children.
You and I should be here. That's how you uphold the law.
Granted, we can do checkpoints, but we also have to, we can do checkpoints, but it also comes back to probable cause.
Then?
If we don't have probable cause, we can ask to search your vehicle, and if they don't have probable cause.
That's what you have to do. If we're monitoring the same thing, we're protecting and serving our people and the well-being.
But we can't use someone calling in over here saying there's alcohol, a vehicle with alcohol.
Jim, don't you know that's what these people wanted, man?
I know.
You know, one of these days, all of us, Indians and non-Indians, those who come to support, but mainly Indian people, are going to have to come together in solidarity. And we're all going to have to say it has to stop.
I agree.
And I understand what you're talking about, you know, rights issues. You know, but I tell you, what really concerns me is that, you know, tonight when the sun goes down, I don't have to tell you that somebody's rights are going to be violated over here. Somebody's going to be hurt here. But I want to ask you, and I want to implore you, you know, to just work and let this thing go. It's not your responsibility. It's not ours. You know, and all they're going to do is they continue to exploit the misery. And I understand that, but I would hope that something can be worked out to let this go on within their rights, you know, that they have. And I guess I don't understand those. What is the question today?
We're not stopping nobody. We're not stopping nobody. We're just here to make sure no one gets hurt.
If they are able, then what's going to happen if they are going to identify somebody taking alcohol from Nebraska to a place where they have no legal place to drink it? Will you act on this side of the border today?
That's entrapment.
That's entrapment.
Yes. From the time I was growing up, I knew this was a bad place. Right down the line here, when I was underage, I was 17, 18. I used to buy beer. I haven't drank for 16, 17 years ago. But this place right here said the right thing. They pushed it off on us.
Since you agreed to with me, we shook on this, okay? Let's commence today's blockade.
When I said I'd work with you, we'll sit down and do what we can
This is a logistical way, James.
A what way?
Logistical way.
If you want to stop a vehicle, I can't stop you on your own. But if they get out and do something, and you end up fighting with them over it or something like that, then if you break the law and we're watching you, then yeah, both of you will probably go to jail. So if you fight or something like that.
On behalf of mothers and children, you know what, from the top going down, who gets affected the most are our children. I really don't like the alcohol because it's been here for like 6 generations and it has done nothing good for my people, and my culture is dying. I don't want to be the only mom and grandparent and mother of children to be here, and it's so sad that just a little bit of us. Wish there's thousands of us to make an impact here and shake and rattle bones, as they say. Wished we could do that, but maybe just with the few we could make this impact and speak up and tell. It's our children that get hurt the most. Please remember that.
I'm not 50-50.
Okay.
I'm not 50-50. I'm in South Dakota, man.
What's happening? Oh, man.
Who's got the jumpers? Okay, we need to get jumpers then.
Cables.
To find out the legalities of being able to call in license plate numbers of people that they say are carrying beer back to the reservation.
Well, that's part of a theft as far as I'm concerned.
That's what?
Part of a theft.
Theft?
Yep.
How so?
Because that property don't belong to these people that are trying to take it away. Even though it's illegal on the reservation, if you're not a law enforcement officer, it's still against the law to take property away from anybody.
So what do you think is the long-term solution to the problems that people say this town poses for the reservation?
Well, the same situation you got in Omaha with the black people laying in the alleys, drinking, and nobody cares about that.
Work with us collectively then. Today, we've made that. We've broken ice by doing that, and all of a sudden, you guys run up and want to shut it down.
See, just before, the way to shut this down and stuff, you got to go through litigation in Nebraska.
Wow, Nebraska, man, they don't listen. They don't listen.
That's right, man.
Back up off the roadway here, please.
Please.
Roadway, please. Stand over there. Stand over there. Stand over there. On this side of the line. Stand on this side of the line.
Stand off the road to the side.
For a general safety check for alcohol doesn't require probable cause. Now, I can appreciate wanting to have probable cause by having someone at the source of the alcohol who sees it and can report directly to you and have a clear probable cause with regard to a particular vehicle. But a safety inspection doesn't require probable cause. It's clearly established. And so that the question is whether or not the officers here today, since you're all here, anyhow, would be willing to do a safety check of the cars coming in and exercise your own authority of just checking as a safety precaution as to whether or not people are willing to consent to telling you whether or not they have any alcohol or not. If they do, then to tell them that it's not allowed. And it would demonstrate, I think, an openness on everyone's part to be cooperative. We'll make certain that everybody stays completely off the highway. There'll be no safety implications at all. And then just observe it going on, and the people can be satisfied that it's happening. You're satisfied that it's being done by your people within their jurisdiction. No one's creating any kind of safety problem. I think at least that's an option that would be good if you would consider that.
Well, let me talk with some of my supervisors, and we'll see what we can do.
Terrific.
I need you guys to move along now. Move along. This person is going to be going to jail for disorderly conduct. Inciting a riot.
What?
I'm not inciting a riot.
Oh, that's what it is. That's the charge. That's the charge.
There's no riot here. There's no riot here. Inciting a riot?
Put your signs away.
Put your signs, disperse. That's all we're saying. Disperse. Disperse or go to jail. Disperse or go to jail.
Okay. You guys are going to put up a safety check. Okay, sir. Okay, we got it then.
Sir, can I ask you to step over here? You're gonna have to be boss, please.
I'm only trying to...
I understand, sir. I understand.
Do you know how much this is going to cost you guys, and how much time you're going to spend booking everybody and going through the trial and everything else?
That's our job, sir. Can you step back? Can you step back?
Sure, I can step back.
Are you? What is this going to do?
You gotta shut down.
Are you going to take over the road?
No, we can't.
That's not good enough.
What do you want to do? You need to step off the road, don't you?
No, that's not good enough, you guys. No.
You are aiding and abetting violation.
You guys are violating my
You are aiding and abetting a violation.
Please leave me.
Of the law that's on our
Leave
side.
We can't disrespect our people.
You're not disrespecting them. You are disrespecting the babies, you guys.
No.
Tired of you. Put your hands on me.
Hey, goddammit,
Please, don't put your hands on me. Put your hands on me.
Hey, come on, heel ball. Stop. Heel ball. Oh my God, ball. No, right now. Heel ball. No. We're here, don't.
Need you to step back. Step back.
Oh my God,
Get through. Let's go.
heel ball. Oh my God, ball. Step
off the road.
Heel ball.
Off the road. So get through. You got to block the traffic. Let's go. But now. You got to step back off the road, man. Step off the road. Go by.
Come on now, you guys. Heel ball.
Stop resisting now.
Hey, hold on,
Why are you our eagle feather here? Get that eagle feather. Get your hands off me. Get your hands off me.
Stay back.
Ah, God damn it.
You sold the lie.
You don't have to do this. It's wrong here. No, it's just wrong.
Back up, please. Can we let the cars go through?
the indigenous people of the planet Earth. Even though we all have different languages, different cultures, we all have the same relatives. We all hold the earth as our mother. We're very spiritual. Without a connection to the earth as a spiritual relative, you're a killer. These teachings of our way of life, our culture, died right here to a great, great extent because of what happened here in 1890. We have people in Whiteclay, we don't know one another. It's the strangest thing on how this is passed on from one generation to the next. We have Whiteclay, Nebraska. We have Rushville, Nebraska. On this side, Gordon, Shadron. We have Martin, Kadoka, all the border towns, Rapid City, Hot Springs. And no one knows who we are. No one. We know about them, but they don't know about us. We've been trying to teach them for 30 years now, since I've been here. Maybe Whiteclay will expose some badly needed truth. Once those are exposed, maybe we can start moving towards solutions.
In my heart I hold my son. In my heart I hold my son. He should be here, not dead and gone. In my son I saw my hope. In my son I once had hope. Too much to drink, he couldn't cope. Now hope is gone, it's lost its way. Now hope is gone, it's lost its way. Lost its way, walking to Whiteclay. Still in my heart I hold my son. Deep in my heart I hold my son.